Hello and welcome to Herman Brothers Field here in Palmer, Alaska. Will Hopkins alongside Vic Masslia for yet another matchup between the Matsu Miners and the Anchorage Bucs. The Bucs were supposed to play against the Chinooks yesterday. That game not only rained out, but won't be made up. So that magic number not only stays at 4, but it makes a game that was already going to be pivotal even more pivotal.
Yeah, Will, like you just said, the Bucks now have to win a game versus the Miners, which they always had to do. But not just that, they have to win a game versus the Miners, at least one, and then they have to sweep that doubleheader versus the Chinooks. There is no win one game against Matsu and then split the doubleheader and win another game against the Chinooks. That's out the window. You either win two versus the Chinooks, split that doubleheader, or you win tonight and then you get that doubleheader victory, and then we'll see what happens on that last game. Hopefully for the Bucks, if they do win today and they get that doubleheader sweep, obviously they'll lock in the top seed. And then that last game, August 1st against the Miners, won't really matter because the Bucks will have already locked up that top seed. But a loss here today means the Bucks have to sweep that doubleheader and they have to beat the Miners. So the Miners really have a good look at it, being 1.5 game back. Still, they've looked so good here. 11 straight wins. The Bucks have really just failed to score first and then add on. And that 4-3 victory versus the Miners about a week ago now, before that 6 game win streak, that was the last loss that the Bucks had before a couple days ago. In that 4-3 game, the Bucks scored 3 runs in the first inning. Will, that was it. And then in the other game, just this past couple days ago, the Bucks just were trying to play catch up. So I think the biggest key for the Bucks is to score early, but also to keep adding on, maintaining that lead, and just getting yourself further and further away from this Miners team that is really good pitching, and the bats have really started to heat up.
And a key to starting well is preventing the Miners from scoring. Like you said, 3 runs in the first. And if you're trying to keep an offense at bay, might not be a better pitcher to have out there than Zanrez.
Oh, absolutely not. Will, he's looked fantastic, especially against these Miners. Before we went on that Peninsula road trip, we had a 9-1 win out here. And looking back at that, a 9-1 win out here against the Miners, who have been great at home, just 1 run scored for their offense, and they gave us 9 runs. I mean, that's crazy to think about now. But of course, the pitching has really just gotten a lot tighter for the Miners. They've done really well. But going back to that game, San Rose, just 1 earned run in those 4 innings pitched, and then 10 innings total versus the Miners, and just 1 earned run in all of those combined 2 starts. So Zan has been familiar with this Miners team. He's given up no runs in that 7 inning doubleheader, and he gave up that 1 run in the trip before, or in the game before that trip to the Kenai Peninsula. So Zan has looked really good this whole year with a sub 2 ERA, almost a sub 1 ERA, 1.04. But especially against these Miners, he's looked really good, and I think we're in for a good showing tonight.
Yeah, he has played against the Miners. Cannot say the same for Ryan Peterson facing these Bucks. He'll make his seventh start, but first against the Bucks, we'll let you know who he's facing in that Bucks lineup, as well as a little bit more about him, as well as Zamrez when we come back. Welcome back to Herman Brothers Field. Will Hopkins alongside Vic Massey as the top two teams in the ABL duke it out for the second time in 3 days. A couple of days ago on Sunday, the Miners were victorious, winning against the Bucs by a score of 7-5. A really wild game where the Miners were in control for much of it. Bucs tied it up late, and the Miners had just enough to get themselves over the edge with a couple of runs in the eighth inning. The Bucs won their first 4 games in league play against the Miners, plus one non-league game. But since then, it's been all Miners, 4 wins in a row to tie the league season series up at 4-4. As the Bucs go into this one with a 1.5 game lead, and to try to increase that lead, it'll be Zan Rose who we're seeing on the mound. His 7th appearance, 6th start, 3-0 record, 34 and two-thirds innings pitched, a 1.04 ERA, which went up after his last start with a 1 earned run in 6 innings. Just shows you where that ERA was at to begin with. 22 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned runs, 32 strikeouts, and 11 walks for Rose. And like Vic said, just 1 earned run across 10 innings in 2 starts against these Miners. And on the other side, it's a guy we haven't seen before, Ryan Peterson.
Yeah, Ryan Peterson, the rising sophomore. And Peterson, this will be his 7th appearance with the Miners. All 6 of his appearances have been starts. He is 1-2, 31 innings pitched. That is just 1 inning less than Jack Hostetler, who holds the most innings pitched with 32. And those 31 innings pitched for Peterson, though, 23 hits, 8 earned runs, good for a 2.32 ERA. And something about Peterson, he's had an uptick in runs given up the past couple of starts. 2 runs given up in his last start on July 20th versus the Peninsula Oilers. 3 earned runs given up against the Glacier Pilots on July 11th. Taking you all the way back to July 5th, he gave up no earned runs. And then in June, gave up a combined 3 runs in his 3 starts in June. So definitely an uptick in runs, but not that much. Still a sub-3 ERA and almost a sub-1 ERA. Strikeouts have gone down just a bit for Peterson as well, but still has 34 on the year and 31 innings pitched. And talking about that last game for Peterson, that was against the Peninsula Oilers, and it was on July 20th. Excuse me, that was a 4-3 win for the Miners. Went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs. So a good outing for him against a good Oilers team. But once again, facing a really hot Bucs lineup, and despite the loss in their last game, 7-5. The Bucs still put up 5 runs against a really good pitching staff in the Miners and really tried to just play catch up the whole entire time. So it'll be Peterson, it'll be Zandros. So once again, a really good pitching matchup. We saw Carlone and Noah Kendrick. Unfortunately for Carlone, 3 earned runs given up in that first inning was just unfortunate to see, and was lucky to have a walk and a run scored. And Carlone definitely did his job on the offensive side and was just super unlucky once again to get doubled up at the end of the game. Thought that was a looping line drive over the head of the shortstop Cochran. Unfortunately, turned into a double play out that ended the game for the Bucs. So unfortunate last game against the Miners, who just really had the Bucs numbers in these past 4 games. 3 of them at Mulcahy Stadium, 1 of them here at Herman Brothers Fields. Those are the last 4 games, I'm telling you. And the 2 games in June that the Bucs won pretty much in grand fashion. The 10-9 victory, yes, it was just 1 run separating the two, but it was also the second or third game for the Bucs. So you got to give their pitching staff a little bit of grace with dealing with the Miners in the first couple of games, making sure everything is uh, good to go. But in that next game, the Zan Rose game, 9-1 victory just before the Peninsula trip, and that was a really, really well-rounded game for this Bucs team. I think they're looking to recreate that tonight, but they also understand that the Miners have just been playing unreal baseball, 11 straight wins, and they're just 1.5 games back. And luckily for the Bucs, they had a couple of games where the Miners didn't play, so they were able to pick up some half games. But the Miners won that last one, and if they win here tonight, they will just be a half game back. And we'll remind you, they also have a doubleheader versus the Chinooks. So they have one more game versus us, then a doubleheader versus the Chinooks. As for the Bucs, 2 more games here versus the Miners, 2 more games in a doubleheader tomorrow versus the Chinooks. And here, I'm going to give it to you bluntly. The Bucs have got to win either tonight's game or the August 1st game against the Miners. And if they win just one of those games, they will have to sweep the doubleheader tomorrow against the Chinooks. And we were both talking about how we're definitely a little bit more nervous for these next two games versus the Miners than that doubleheader because the Bucs have been really good against the Chinooks in general, and been really good in doubleheaders. So we'll see how the Bucs fare in that doubleheader tomorrow. Obviously, if the Bucs split those two games, they will have to take two games from the Miners, and that is the only chance of making the top seed. But once again, do not fret. The Bucs are in the playoffs, of course, and they do have home field for the first game, and that is already locked up. Please refer to our social media. We've lined out those three games. Of course, we do not know the opponent yet. However, we can tell you if the Bucs get that one seed, they will most likely play the Pilots. And if they get that two seed, they will most likely face the Oilers. And of course, the one seed guarantees you home field for both the first and second round. And of course, if the Bucs do not get that, they will just have home field for the first series and will most likely be traveling out here to Palmer to face these very Miners. Well, they will be if they do not get the second seed. Of course, the Miners are the only other team that's in contention. So it's great. It looks like the Miners having some people come out on the field. We saw excuse me, we saw that for them. And then getting into the starting lineups, excuse me, Josh Hankins will lead it off for the Bucs and play third base. Cole Carlone will bat second to be the designated hitter. Andrew Lamb will play in right field and bat third. Ryan Callahan, the cleanup batter, will play in left field. Tommy Eisenstat will bat first. And then Brody Briggs will be the catcher playing at shortstop. Max Ross, excuse me, will roam in center field, bat second. Will Burns will be at shortstop in the 8-hole. And the 9-hole batter, Rob Vandergrift, playing second base. Once again, Hankins, Carlone, Lamb, Callahan, Eisenstadt, Briggs, Ross, Burns, and Vandergrift, all behind their starting pitcher, all behind the starting pitcher, Zan Rose. We'll go ahead and bring you the national anthem, and then we'll get into the Miners starting lineup. So we'll step aside here, and we'll give you that Miners national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
A great rendition of our national anthem. Thank you for the fan bringing that to us. Sorry for not getting to the lineups a little bit sooner. Was so focused on the playoff format that the Bucs are just right around the corner from. But going ahead and give you the Miners starting lineup. Chase Wilcox will lead it off like usual and will play third base. Drake Kerr will bat second and play in center field. Kyle McCausland will play in right field and bat third. The cleanup batter, Brandon Duran, is the designated hitter. Dom Patrizzi will bat fifth and play at second base. Christian Perez will hit sixth and play at first. The seven-hole batter, Ryan Cochran, will play at shortstop. Kellen Strohmeyer in the lineup was not a couple days ago. He'll bat eighth and play in left field. Blake Baltz, once again, is the catcher for the Miners. He will bat ninth. And in front of him, the battery will be Peterson on the hill. Ryan Peterson, like I said, in his seventh appearance, six beforehand, 23 hits given up in 31 innings pitched and 8 earned runs, good for a 2.32 ERA. But first time seeing these Bucs, so be interested to see what he has in store for a really hot-hitting lineup that scored 5 runs off the Miners just a couple days ago, and 5 runs off this Miners offense. It seems like a really tough task to do, but the Bucs have done it and are looking to do the same here tonight. But on the mound, Zan Rose looks like he's going to go out and give you 5-6 innings at least and maybe 1 or 2 earned runs. That's what he's been doing this whole year. But of course, like I said, the Miners bats are just really starting to heat up. So it'll be interesting to see how much of a different game it will be for Zan Rose coming out onto the hill. The Bucs going with their black jerseys. They have been riding those jerseys for at least a week and a half, maybe even two. The last time I saw them in another jersey was at Mulcahy Stadium, and it was way far back. They've even worn the black at Mulcahy for a good bit. So the black tops, yellow letters, Bucs written across the chest, outlined in white numbers on the fronts and backs of those jerseys, and the gray traveling pants. Speaking of traveling, Bill Springman is not with the team in today's ball game. We will see him in the next one. And as for the Miners, in their all-white tops, the Miners written across the chest in green outlined in yellow. Numbers on the front and backs of those jerseys, white pants too. Some guys wearing those high socks up to close to their knees, and the Miners look really clean in those white jerseys, and the same jerseys they wore in the other game versus the Bucs, and thought they might be a little streaky and keep that camouflage color they seem to start that 11-game streak with, but have since changed to the white. Ryan Peterson throws his last pitch, and that means that we are almost ready for baseball. Hankins will step up to the plate. He'll greet the home plate umpire. Baltz will return back behind home plate. And here up into the booth, stepping up to the mic, is Will Hopkins.
Appreciate it, Vic. Ryan Peterson, first look for the Bucs at this guy, 2.32 ERA for the righty. Rising sophomore at Sam Houston State, same school as the starter from a couple of days ago, Noah Kendrick. Peterson, 6'3", 200 out of Shiner, Texas. Was Conference USA All-Freshman this year with a 3.86 ERA. Mostly in relief, though, starting here. And he starts Josh Hankins off with a ball outside. First pitch just after 6:03 p.m., 59 degrees and cloudy here in Palmer, Alaska. Hankins swings at the second one, skies it, back behind home plate, foul. Setting the defense for the Miners, Blake Baltz is behind home plate, catching for Ryan Peterson. Christian Perez is at first, Dom Patrizzi's at second, Ryan Cochran's at short, and Chase Wilcox is at third. Kellen Strohmeyer's in left field, Drake Kerr is in center field, and Kyle McCausland's in right field. 1 ball and 1 strike to Josh Hankins, and now 1 ball, 2 strikes after fastball right over the heart of the plate. Thanks to everyone for tuning in here on this Tuesday evening, later than evening for some of our viewers on the East Coast. Bucs trying to get closer and closer, locking up that number 1 seed as this is hit hard the other way into right center field. Long run for McCausland, and he gets there. Unlucky for Josh Hankins.
Yeah, struck that ball pretty well. I think he got under it just a little bit. That ball's anymore on the line. It's definitely splitting the two ball players out there, Drake Kerr and Kyle McCausland. Don't know if it would be a double. It was hit a little bit softly, but just missing that one. And Carlone in the 2-hole was in the 3-hole a couple days ago when he pitched against these Miners.
Yeah, was not his best pitching performance. Exited the game after recording just 1 out, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, but the error was on him, so he'll feel responsible for all 3 of them. No hits from the Miners in that 3-run first, just walk after walk after walk. In addition to that error, Chad Gurney came in and stayed for a while and had a big ground ball double play to end that first inning as Carlone takes a ball inside to even up the count.
Yeah, Chad Gurney eventually went 6 2/3 innings, basically pitched a regular old start. Gave up 7 hits and just the 2 earned runs, but he was so good. And no walks, 6 strikeouts. You could tell he was just getting the guys to put into play.
Ball and a strike to the Bucs DH, who takes it just a hair inside. And I caught up with Gurney before the game. He said, I watched the stream back. Y'all said I was just going to go for an inning or two. I said, hey, you'd pitched 3 1/3 2 days before. It was pretty fair of us to think. No, he's like, yeah, no, that's totally fair. But he surpassed our expectations big time.
Yeah, and if he hadn't pitched a couple days ago, I think we would have been the first to say that he could go 4 or 5 innings because we know him to be a starter. And we know that if he's coming out of the bullpen, it's probably for longer relief. He's not a guy that's going to go and just get you that 1 out. He did do that in the sense of getting that 1 out in the first, that ground ball double play, 2 outs, excuse me. So it does have that ability, but is mostly used for the longer reliever type.
2-2, and Carlone goes down looking. Nice pitch on the inside corner from Peterson, and first 2 Bucs are retired. Andrew Lamb trying to break up the 1-2-3 inning.
Yeah, Lamb 2 for 4 a couple days ago versus the Miners, 1 walk. And he was just finding himself on base, it seemed, every single at-bat.
Average is up to 270 for Andrew Lamb. That's good for 7th in the entire ABL.
Yeah, I was just about to say, that's definitely up there. Carlone, 327 average. Just amazing what he can do on both sides.
Lamb takes 1 outside, and for Lamb, we know him to be the double specialist of the team. He has 11. The next closest is Brody Briggs with 5. So it's Lamb far and away.
Just a gap-to-gap type of guy. Hits that ball high up in the air.
He ropes this one into right field. That'll only be a single, but he hit it hard and, like you said, gap to gap, that time pulling it. We've seen him go the other way numerous times, but hits it to his counterpart, Kyle McCausland, this time.
It's almost a little bit upsetting that it's not a double sometimes with how many doubles he hits. It seems like he's not himself when he just hits a plain old single.
Especially with the dancing he does over there at second base. I always enjoy watching that.
Yeah, just a little hello wave. I keep meaning to ask him who that is. I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue. Who he's trying.
Oh, the sketch. I was talking more about
getting in
the pitcher's head, dancing around while the pitch is being thrown.
Yes. Now we're on the same page. Yeah, that is the sketch. I don't know why. It took me a while. Sound like an old man.
So Ryan Callahan digs in. He started with a strike. Callahan with a big fly last time here, just a couple of days ago on Sunday. That one, Baltz really wanted to get the call, but not going to get it from the home plate umpire.
Yeah, it looked really good, and I guess a good pitch that Callahan takes, but on the inner half, a really competitive pitch from Peterson, and tough to hit if you're the hitter.
So 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 away here in the first inning with Andrew Lamb at first base. Callahan hits this hard to center field, but it looks like it's going to be right at Drake Kerr, and it is. He starts his run towards the dugout and grabs the ball on the way over. Andrew Lamb with a 2-out single, but that's it. Zan Rose on the bump when we come back. Zan Rose taking his warm-up tosses, 6'1", 215 out of Tampa, Florida, and Winthrop. Rose making his 7th appearance, 6th start. He'll be tossing to Brody Briggs with Tommy Eisenstadt at first base, Rob Vandegrift at second base, Will Burns at shortstop, and Josh Hankins at third base. Outfielders of Ryan Callahan, Max Ross, and Andrew Lamb from left to right. And for Rose, like we talked about, good success against these minors, hoping to continue that. And with how good their pitching's been, he knows he'll need to be on his A game. And to be honest, I'm not too worried about him. Saw him before the game. Didn't talk to him because it was clear the way he was preparing. Some starters don't like to be talked to before their start. He was sitting away from everybody else in the bullpen area, an open bullpen area here at Herman Brothers Field. But he had his music in, just doing his own thing. And I definitely thought better than to say anything to him. And he looks locked in, and maybe that's the key to what his success has been all season long, as Brody Briggs makes the throw down to second, and Chase Wilcox steps in for the Miners.
Yeah, I caught him too, and definitely, usually when I see him, comes up and, hey, how's it going? But I saw him and caught him. It was really quick, but I could definitely see that in his eyes that he's just really focused on today. And not that he's not talking to anyone, but definitely is focused on this start and knows how big it is for this Bucs team.
Starting with Chase Wilcox as he swings hard at the first pitch and hits it high to right field. Long run for Andrew Lamb, but luckily he gets there a loud first out from a guy who had a couple of hits a couple of days ago.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm glad that it happened. I think a guy like Zan Rose, who's just really not used to being hit virtually at all, but not used to being hit really hard. I think that definitely, I want to say a wake-up call, but is definitely something that is probably good that he got out of the way right now and maybe can focus on having a better first pitch that is not maybe could induce a big firework here in the first inning. So I'm glad that happened. First pitch, you got an out, so it doesn't really matter how it is.
Yeah, I guess it helps the efficiency. Wilcox got to know what's coming with him. Leading the league in batting average is Drake Kerr, the league leader in stolen bases, takes a pitch outside.
Interesting that they're flip-flopped in what you would normally think, Wilcox batting second or third and Kerr batting first with the stolen bases.
He yanks this one foul, and for much of the season, that was how it was. Drake
Yeah,
Kerr was
he's great.
leading off almost all the time. And speaking of those two guys, 2 of 7 guys in the lineup that have faced off against Rose twice, and the 2 that have only faced him once, Durand and Cochran. So for Rose, barring an early pinch hitter, he won't see anybody that he hasn't seen before. As this is smashed into left center field, Ryan Callahan is over, though. A lot of loud fly balls from both teams so far.
Yeah, and we know Zan to have big strikeout stuff, and we've seen him have a lot of strikeouts in some starts, but he also can manufacture outs, and sometimes those are loud outs. But like I said, I think it's good that he's getting out of the way here in the first inning, and maybe just works on his location on some of these pitches and just moving it just barely inches, centimeters away from the bat barrel of these Miners hitters, and maybe gets weaker fly balls in the second or third frames. Will.
Yeah, so McCausland steps in. He was 1 for 4 with a couple of runs scored. He started with a ball, and fly balls here in the Alaska Baseball League aren't the worst thing in the world with how difficult it is to hit home runs. The man who made that last out, Ryan Callahan, hit one a couple of days ago, and he's going to have another chance here with a line drive and makes the play. But to finish that up, I was asking him about his home run. He said it's so hard to hit him here, and we're glad to see him hit one and glad to see him make that third out. 1, 2, 3 go the Miners. Bucks bats are already back up. Tommy Eisenstadt, the Bucks first baseman, who didn't have to do anything at first base in the first inning, steps in. Unfortunately, was at the plate when the game on Sunday ended. Second and third with one out, Bucks trailing by 2 runs, and Eisenstadt put some good wood on it, a liner over to short, and like you mentioned, Cole Carlone doubled up, straying from second base, and rightfully so. The Bucks didn't know how many opportunities they'd have, and Carlone, if that ball got through, would need to be on his horse to make it home and tie it up. Eisenstadt going the other way with it this time, and another fly ball, another out as Kellen Strohmeyer wraps it in leather.
Yeah, 2 of the Bucks outs last inning were fly balls, and all 3 outs for the Miners were fly balls. So everything being hit on the air today.
Cole Carlone with a looking strikeout, the only one not following the pattern. Brody Briggs will step in now. Every out in the field has been a fly ball to the outfield, and none of them super lazy, really. They've been hit decently hard. But some either right at guys or some that guys have had just enough time to get to. Another lefty in Brody Briggs for Peterson to face. He starts him with a strike. Reminder, Bucks leading the Miners by a game and a half. 4 games left for the Bucks, including this one, and 4 games left for the Miners as well, as Brody Briggs grounds this up the middle. Long run for Cochran to get to it, and he fumbles the ball.
Yep. It was going to be a tough play either way, and Briggs is pretty fast, so definitely don't want to say that if he fields that cleanly, he's going to get this for sure out. But I think if he does, it is probably going to be an out if he does it perfectly. We'll be interested to see how they score that. I think because it's up the middle, I think they're going to give him a base hit.
That's exactly what they did. And yeah, he had a long way to get to that. The only reason he was able to get to it was because it was rolled so slowly up the middle. But even if he gets to it and gets it into his right hand, I don't know if he's getting the Speedy Briggs. Way outside to Max Ross.
Ross did not play in the Miners game 2 days ago. But of course, now with Peyton Knowles gone, it moves things around just a little bit.
Yep, Knowles leaving a few days ago. One of many departures we've seen lately. This is blasted in the left center field gap, and this one gets down. Turn on the wheels, Brody Briggs. He's rounding second, heading for third. He's going to make that turn. Max Ross stops at second. No relay home. It's an RBI double. Bucks lead 1-0 in the second inning.
There you go. Little Tim Tebow celebration. How about that? And Max Ross, just as I say, wasn't in the game 2 days ago. No problem in that double. And we've seen him split some gaps before. Started out, and Chugiak had a couple doubles maybe there in that first game, or at least one. But here, just a great job. Gets that ball in the air, not too high, but that was almost Andrew Lamb-esque with how far he drove that ball into the gap, and just a great job. Ross going the opposite field. Love to see that for him, a guy that, you know, obviously has come back from his injury, but it hasn't made a ton of fireworks yet, and here might be the start.
So now Will Burns digs in. Bucks leading it by 1 with a Speedy Ross in scoring position, and Burns back rocking the sleeves. We thought he might be done with those for the year after some good play without them, and he said, you know, there's something called a washing machine. I said, that's crazy for you to say given your underwear superstition, but we won't get into that again.
Man, shots fired, huh?
Hey, he was the one who put it in the video that he knew was going on social media, so it's out for the world to see.
Yeah, Will Burns definitely an oddball.
Even count to him. Vandegrift and then the top looming. Swing and a miss from Burns. Looked like Peterson maybe took a little bit off on the outside there. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Important thing about this inning now, just keep the line moving. Runner in scoring position. Don't need to do anything crazy. That double really helps get it going. But Max is a speedy guy. All you need is a base hit. He's likely to score. The outfielders, besides Strohmeyer out there in left, are pretty far back. Drake Kerr, McCausland, fairly far back.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Line the other way, and Christian Perez goes to second, and they're going to double up the Bucks. Second consecutive game with a double play, although the home plate umpires
I think it's going to be catcher's interference. Catcher's interference, that's what it is, Will. And he's awarded first base because of that, and Max Ross will stay at second. So huge break for the Bucks.
Huge break. It looked like a line drive double play, and instead Burns reaches first on the interference. We'll have to watch this one back and see what happened.
And I'm already going to tell you, Will, it's really tough to see catcher's interferences like that. They're not super obvious. A lot of times you have to go on the sound. Yeah, I can kind of see it there just a tad.
And he put his hands up immediately. We just didn't see it.
Yeah, and Burns obviously too noticed it, and is definitely a lot about sound, but also umpire's got a good view of that too. So really good call by the home plate umpire. Don't see it a lot, but is a crucial call to make.
So now first pitch to Vandegrift. He ropes this into left field. Unfortunately, right at Strohmeyer. Another ball hit on the button and nothing to show for it. But going back to that catcher's interference, how crazy is it that Burns was able to line that in play as hard as he did?
I was just about to say that after that fly ball, and you're exactly right. It's huge. I mean, it looked like it was honestly more than just a piece of leather. It looked like he really got the glove pretty good, but maybe it was just a little bit of that leather that got caught. So a big break for the Bucks, but that fly ball by Vandegrift, if it's any more on a line, that's a base hit in the left field. But Strohmeyer is very shallow out there in left, makes it tough.
So now 2 on with 2 outs as a breaking ball finds the zone to Josh Hankins, already at the plate for his second time, just 17 minutes into this game. Don't think that's something he would have been expecting. Pretty new to this leadoff spot, but over the last week been there somewhat consistently. Ross at second, Burns at first, and Hankins takes outside. Good stop by Baltz behind home plate.
And being that Burns is a righty batter, you could probably tell that the Miners had a good look at that catcher's interference, and of course they're not saying anything. Obviously the umpire called it very early, but there's no argument from them. They probably saw that happen firsthand.
1-1 misses downstairs. Good job by Hankins communicating to Ross that it didn't get away from Baltz, and for Ross to stay over at second. Bucks will be going on the crack of the bat. Speedy guys aboard. Ross at second and Burns at first. And a speedy guy at the plate as well in Josh Hankins. 2-1 coming from Peterson. And a great stop by Blake Balls.
Sure was, and a really good eye by Hankins. That ball looks middle, and it's really tough to pick up that spin. It's got a lot of horizontal movement, so you don't see that ball vertically curving in and out of the zone. It's really tough to pick up on that, so really good recognition, and seems like he's waiting on his pitch and has a really good count to do so.
Yep, hitters count 3-1. And a late strike call on a pitch that looked to be outside.
Yeah, I don't like that call at all. That looked like a baseball length outside of the strike zone in the outer part of the plate. So a rough call for the Bucs, but Hankins probably wouldn't mind a base hit instead of a walk.
So now a full count. Runners will be on the move. There they go. Foul tip. They'll have to return to their bags.
Yeah, if Hankins could get a base hit right here with the runners moving a little bit, I'm sure that the Miners might have actually wanted that strike to be called a ball if that results in a couple of runs with Hankins swinging the bat up there. Of course, not known to be an extra base hit type of guy, but hits it hard.
Another 3-2 with the runners going. Gets some wood on it. Shallow right field. Whose ball will it be? It's the second baseman, Dom Patrizzi. Bucs leave two stranded, but do get a run on a Max Ross RBI double scoring Brody Briggs as we head to the bottom of the second inning. 1-0.
Denise is in there.
Bottom half of the second inning, Will Hopkins alongside Nick Massey, and Zan Rose takes the mound after just 6 pitches in the first inning, and a difference on the scoreboard since when he pitched then. Max Ross RBI double scoring Brody Briggs. Bucs now leading by a run, and Zan Rose looking to keep it that way as he faces Durand, Patrizzi, and Perez, and he gets a swing and a miss on a breaking ball.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate last inning. Realistically, Josh Hankins should be on first. It should be bases loaded with Carlone coming up, but unfortunately that's not the case, and the Bucs will just have to take the one run.
Swinging a foul tip this time. Durand gets a teeny bit more of it, but nowhere near enough, and now an 0-2 hole. And yeah, what you're alluding to, 3-ball, 1-strike count. Looked like ball 4. Hankins was on his way to first, but had to come back to the box. Skied out of play on the right side, foul. Durand stays alive. Durand 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs, 2 walks as well. Big day on Sunday, but not a big plate appearance here. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Beautiful slider from Zan, working that on the middle part of the plate, and it just moves all the way in the left-handed batter's box. It's got a lot of horizontal break. It's really tough to pick up on. It's almost like he's throwing perfectly sidearm with how much that ball moves from side to side. That seam shifted wake he was telling us about.
I didn't understand it.
I was trying my best, but it was hard for me too.
Rope down the left field line, just barely foul.
Yep.
Third base umpire had to hop out of the way.
And that seam shifted wake is basically, instead of focusing on rotations per minute, it's focusing on how much the seam shifts and how much the seam moves. And if the seam moves in a different type of way, and if it moves a lot, then it's going to get more spin. And that more spin allows that ball to move from wherever direction you want it to move. So seam shifted wake is kind of the new, I wouldn't say technology, but just the new terminology that pitchers are using to increase spin on their breaking balls, especially sliders and curveballs.
No balls, 2 strikes. Goes with the off speed, and amazing that Patrizzi didn't offer at it. Looks like a strike for so long at the time.
Yeah. I think if he works that just a little bit more on the inner half of the plate and tries to land just a bit outside, he maybe gets a swing and miss.
Went back to the same pitch. This one even further outside. No swing from Patrizzi. So he worked the count back even. Nobody aboard here with 1 out in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Will he take that slider 3 times, Will? I don't know.
Goes with the fastball and blew it right by him. Swing and a miss.
And I think Zan Rose was definitely thinking, hey, he might spit on this slider again, so I'm just going to gas him up with the fastball. And I think Patrizzi was waiting back on the off-speed pitch, thinking that Zan might try to backdoor one and get it for a strike, but just doesn't do it there. And apologies for this scoreboard. We're just trying to work on that a little bit. Might be something new for next inning.
Christian Perez, the switch hitter, steps in, lines one just foul down the right field line. And I'll say it, Rose has given up some hard contact. Hasn't hurt him yet, but got to be a little bit careful.
Yeah. But that's just a couple in this inning. We saw 4 or 5 in the first inning, so maybe he's trying to get it down a little bit.
Went back inside, too far inside, but Brody Briggs liked the spot, and maybe the idea there is if Perez is going to pull it, I'll give him a pitch that he can't keep fair. 1 ball, 1 strike to the first baseman, and he puts it on the ground. Good stop over there by Eisenstadt. Flips to Zan Rose, who steps on first to end the 2nd inning, which went just like the first. 1, 2, 3, down go the Miners as we head to the 3rd, 1-0 Bucs. Ready for the 3rd inning, moving along pretty quickly here at Herman Brothers Field. Bucs leading it 1-0. Cole Carlone, Andrew Lamb, and Ryan Callahan looking to improve upon that. Cole Carlone, Ryan Peterson's lone strikeout victim so far, went down looking in the 1st inning. Peterson sitting at 32 pitches through his first 2 frames and starts Carlone off with a nice breaking ball that finds the inside corner.
Yeah, and just the 1 run last inning, wanted to get some more, but the Miners, especially Peterson, doing a good job of limiting the damage.
Goes right back to that breaking ball. This time finds more of the plate. Another called strike, and Carlone already in an 0-2 hole. Yeah, would have loved to have more with Ross at 2nd and just 1 out, but not to be. Carlone swords this on the left side. Long throw across the diamond for Chase Wilcox, and he has no problems with it.
But hopefully that 1 run will mean that the Bucs are just saving the other runs for some more innings, and honestly, it's not a bad idea. You know, if they get 3 runs out in that inning and Peterson really settles in, it's going to be really tough for the Bucs to get back into that game. We talked about that 4-3 loss where the Bucs came out with 3 runs in the first and just failed to score again. Hopefully that 1 run last inning won't be the only one.
I love your thinking. Andrew Lamb yanks this towards right field. Kyle McCausland's on his horse, and this is going to go off the base of the wall. Andrew Lamb rounds first. He's headed for second. He's in there standing up, and it's a patented double for Andrew Lamb with a "What's up, brothers" celebration.
Very good. Hey, special teams, special players. And talk about a special player in Andrew Lamb. He must have heard us last at bat saying that boring old
Hey, that was
single
you,
wasn't
not
good enough.
me.
You're right.
I have
That
no
was me.
problems
I
with
said
it.
a boring old single. But hey, maybe that was a good thing that I said that because he probably read my mind and was able to hit the ball almost over the wall there.
Yeah, that wall, I guess, reserved for the man at the plate, Ryan Callahan. Fouls it off out of play on the third base side. Callahan, we remind you, a 2-run homer a couple of days ago on Sunday over that right field wall. Lamb hits that to the base of it for his 12th double of the season, far and away the team lead. And he's dancing around at second, just like I said he always does. Called strike. Don't think Callahan liked that very much.
There's been a lot of called strikes in this inning alone to Carlone and now to Callahan especially. Seems like every pitch that Peterson's throwing a strike, and maybe he's found better command, but seems like that zone is almost expanding a little bit for the home plate umpire.
12 balls, 26 strikes for Ryan Peterson. He delivers the 0-2 to Callahan, who fans on a high fastball.
Oh, yeah.
Strikeout number 3 for Ryan Peterson. Brings Tommy Eisenstadt to the plate with Andrew Lamb still at second base, now 2 away.
Bucs have done some good work, though, with 2 down, and just because there's 2 down here, there's still a runner aboard at second, and a base hit will likely score him, especially to center field softly or to left field. But, of course, Strohmeyer there, Strohmeyer in left field, super shallow, so right or center field's your best friend, and good thing Tommy Eisenstadt's a lefty.
Eisenstadt takes a strike. He went the other way last time, a line drive that Kellen Strohmeyer didn't have to move much for in left field. Excuse me, actually 2 strikeouts for Peterson. I'd said 3. Hopefully Eisenstadt can avoid 3, but it's going to be tough down 0-2, and we've seen Peterson getting these guys 0-2 pretty often. Carlone in the first inning, Callahan, Eisenstadt here in the third.
Yeah, and it's not because the Bucs bats are on their shoulders. These are really competitive or really good pitches for Peterson, not competitive for the batter, and he's just really working on the corners and making it tough for these batters to find a good pitch.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and Lamb at second base. A long look at him, and now home. And Eisenstadt once again going to left field, and once again into the mitt of Kellen Strohmeyer. Andrew Lamb left stranded at second base after the 1-out double. Still 1-0 Bucs as Zan Rose comes back on the mound for the third. Zan Rose ready for the third inning, where he'll face 7, 8, and 9. Bucs leading it 1-0.
Shortstop,
Trying to increase that lead over these Miners for the top spot in the ABL standings to 2.5 games. For those of you just joining us, like Vic mentioned, the Bucs with a different manager today. Coach Springman was ejected a couple of days ago against the Miners as Ryan Cochran fouls off Rose's first pitch. And Coach Montez will be acting as the Bucs manager, and he said key word there is acting. Didn't want to speak too highly of himself, but we definitely think highly of him. Adam Enyart said he wanted to manage today, and I said, Coach Montez, if you don't want to do it, Adam Enyart's more than willing, but I think that Coach Montez probably thought better of that.
Yeah, well, you know what would break loose if that were to happen.
0-2. Love the pitch there from Zan Rose. Doesn't get a swing, but one that he definitely could have gotten a swing on, and we've talked about it with Elijah Dew. There is such thing as throwing too many strikes, and for Rose there, 0-2. Don't want to give these Miners something too good to hit. 1-2, skied into left field. Ryan Callahan back 10 steps or so, and he gloves it. He's been busy out there.
Yeah, he sure has. A fly out from Drake Kerr, line out by McCausland, and now another fly ball.
Now batting left field.
Infield hasn't had much to do.
Kellen.
If I'm not mistaken, just the one ground ball to Eisenstadt that he flipped to Rose.
Yep.
Vandegrift, Burns, and Hankins just been kicking dirt around. Did you get distracted at second base, kicking dirt around?
Yeah, I was picking some flowers out there. There's some ones in the infield grass that I favored a lot, and yeah, but usually I was laying out for every play,
Right,
and
yeah.
even the shortstop's balls, I would go over there and try to steal some of them because I'd get bored over there at second sometimes. They wouldn't hit it to me because they knew what happened.
Right. Strohmeyer hitting 234 ahead against Rose 2-0.
Strohmeyer, someone we didn't see in the lineup the last game we faced the Miners.
Strohmeyer and Christian Perez, although Perez did come in as a pinch hitter, walked and scored.
Feel like we've seen Riker scowl a lot more as of late than Strohmeyer, to be honest. Or maybe they platoon Strohmeyer, Scow, and McCausland. Actually, McCausland's a mainstay, most at bats on the team.
3 balls, no strikes, and Rose gets the high strike call, trying to avoid a first base runner for the Miners.
Yeah, he's got Briggs to thank, because Briggs really stuck that and was a really good frame job, and I think they stole a strike there.
3-1 to the lefty, and good job by Rose. Fell behind 3-0 and fires a looking strike and then gets Strohmeyer to foul one back.
I think he knows how big that second last pitch was and that Briggs framed it. And I think he realizes that saved a 4-pitch walk and now has a chance to not only get Strohmeyer out, but strike him out.
Instead, he loses him, fought back, but in the end, 4 balls to Strohmeyer, and that's the first base runner for the Miners, and welcoming to see that in the 3rd inning after the 3-run first with runners aboard.
Now batting the catcher, number 5.
Definitely.
Blake.
Chance
Baltz.
for a ground ball double play with the catcher. Blake Baltz running, will be running from the left-handed hitting batter's box. Both he and Brody Briggs left-handed hitting catchers, and both of them sporting number 5.
Just the 12th walk given up by Zan Rose in his now 7th appearance.
Baltz out of UCLA. As he takes a ball inside, looked pretty good from here, apparently not. Briggs at Arizona State, although Briggs did not play at all at Arizona State, but those two teams definitely played in the Pac-12, but Pac-12 no more. Arizona State to the Big 12 and UCLA to the Big 10. Hopefully Baltz likes those trips to New Jersey to face Rutgers, their conference rival, which is just crazy to think. UCLA and Rutgers in the same conference.
Times are changing.
They sure are. Some long weekend trips ahead. Same goes for Brody Briggs. 1 ball, 1 strike to the catcher, and a swing and a miss. Throw down to second as Strohmeyer was going. It's a good throw, but just a little bit late.
Yeah, that throw, if it was just a little bit lower and easier to handle for Burns, not having to reach up and make a swipe tag, that's definitely a bang-bang play, but a really good jump by Strohmeyer, and he might have that bag either way.
Yeah, a good throw, more so in the sense of how quickly he got it down, but like you were saying, wasn't the best location from Briggs. So now Strohmeyer not only in scoring position, but also removing the threat of a typical double play. But with Baltz protecting him, now down 1-2. Rose just misses up and away with the heater. Rose trying to put a third consecutive 0 on the scoreboard for this hot Miners offense. After Balt, it's Wilcox in the top of the order. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Too low. First base is open. Knowing Zan Rose, he'd rather not use it. Really prides himself on not walking batters. Has the one so far today, but really doesn't see himself as a walk guy. Asking him about a couple outings where it was not an issue, but something that was going on. He said, that's not me. See if he can prove that here. 3 balls, 2 strikes to the Miners catcher. And he can. Swing and a miss. Actually foul tipped into the glove of Brody Briggs, but does the job nonetheless.
Great job. I think that it would really hurt his confidence, giving up another walk and another payoff pitch
Now batting third
opportunity.
baseman, number
And
27.
definitely a little bit of a lack of
Chase
command in this frame.
Wilcox.
Seemed like he tried to be a little too perfect in that first walk to Strohmeyer. Want to see him reel it back and have that same at bat he did to Cochran, the quick fly ball out. Same things he's been doing through the first 2 frames.
And a big at bat here. Chase Wilcox, we know, one of the strongest hitters in the league, leads the league in average. Had a big game against the Bucs on Sunday and swung at the first pitch and hit a hard liner to right center field. So Rose will be careful of that and delivers a beauty to get things started.
Yeah, that was a really, really good pitch. A backdoor, and just no chance at Wilcox swinging at that. Off the plate would have been really tough to get a barrel on it.
Would have been tough to decide to swing at it. Started it outside the zone. 0-1. Now comes more inside and off the hands. Wilcox throws the bat down. A little bit upset as Will Burns makes the play just beyond the infield. Great stuff from Zan Rose, leaving Strohmeyer stranded. 1-0 Bucs through 3 innings here in Palmer. Fourth inning, cruising right along here at Herman Brothers Field. Just 40 minutes in. Bucs leading it 1-0, and now time for the middle 3 innings with Vic Maslia.
Thank you, Will. Brody Briggs will lead it off, followed by Max Ross, and then Will Burns. Still a 1-0 affair. Bucs picking up that run in the top half of the second. RBI double by Max Ross, delivering the first and only run. First pitch by Peterson this inning. Just misses down and in, and cloud cover. It's getting breezy here,
Yeah.
Will. It's starting to feel like fall.
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't mean any inclement weather's coming.
1-0 to Briggs. Misses inside again.
I'm surprised you remember what fall feels like after moving up to Syracuse.
Yeah. It's really just summer and then winter up there. There's kind of not really an in-between. It's a turnover, but it's really just a week or so. 2-0. Called strike.
Our Anchorage listeners probably think that it's nothing. It's no big deal over there in Syracuse.
Yeah. Well, Buffalo has some good competition, especially with snowfall. But in Syracuse, it's not as bad. Definitely will give that to the Anchorage folks. 2-1, misses again. Peterson struggling a little bit with command, and Briggs been really a statue in the plate. And why not? He can buy himself a leadoff walk. That would do the trick.
Reached and scored last time.
Yeah, 2 walks a couple days ago versus these Miners, and he picks up his first one here. That one gets away from Baltz, but of course Briggs will just stay at first base. Like I said, Briggs 2 walks, scored a run a couple days ago versus these Miners. That'll bring up Max
Center fielder,
Ross.
number 26,
Last at bat,
Max
RBI
Ross.
double. His first lick off Ryan Peterson. Ross did not play 2 days ago against the Miners, so it's been 3 days since Ross last played against these Chinooks.
And I would love to see the Bucs get some more runs here. They've been playing much better than the Miners so far, 4 hits to none. But for the Bucs, 4 guys left on. You'd love to see them cash in for more than just the 1-run lead.
And one misses to Max Ross, and most of these games versus the Miners, at least the last 4, well, obviously the last 4, have been very low scoring. 2 1-0 losses for the Bucs. Actually, go back a little bit further, 2 back-to-back 2-0 wins and a doubleheader for the Bucs. Then back-to-back or a doubleheader sweep loss, and Briggs goes in a swing and miss from Ross. That was not foul tipped. Briggs is going to head to third base, and he is going to stroll into there. And that is, once again, not a foul ball from Max Ross. And I'm sure he's really glad he didn't get a piece of that baseball.
Yeah, I was a bit upset, not with him, but just with how things went, thinking that there was a pitch way inside where he was trying to protect Briggs and he got a piece of it. And I thought, oh, Briggs had that bag. But not what happened, apparently. It missed the bat, and just it really did look from here like he did hit it.
Yeah. Just the way it bounced up made you think that he deadened it into the ground, but that is not the case. The Bucs in business here, and like I was saying, really close and low-scoring games. Back-to-back 1-0 losses in that doubleheader against these Miners, 4-3 loss. The last game, 7-5, 2 days ago, was really the only big scoring game, and they'll throw back to second, and they're going to say Brody Briggs is safe, and he tips his helmet over there at third base, so they do not win that little challenge over at second base, and of course the dugout loving what they're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not right about that, you're going to get chirped.
1-1. That one misses. Baltz, good job staying in front of that.
And for the Bucs, with Briggs at third base and nobody out, whether it's Max Ross or somebody following him, you have to get this run in, especially given what you're saying, how close and low-scoring some of these games have been. This is a golden opportunity to add on another run.
Nobody out, and Brody Briggs 90 feet away from being the second run to come around to score for the Bucs.
The middle infield's not playing in. Little surprised.
Just the corners. Next one is hammered into left center field, and Drake Kerr's not going to get there. He's heading into second base. That's Max Ross. He is going to stand up, and he's got a double, another RBI double at that for Max Ross. He's plated the 2 and only runs for the Bucs here.
And Brody Briggs both times. It's deja vu all over again. How about that? Max Ross barreling one up to left center, this one to right center, and Brody Briggs only had to come from third this time as opposed to first last time, but still gets the job done, and you would never know that Max Ross hasn't seen live baseball in 3 days.
Yeah, good job from Ross. Really seeing Peterson well. Back-to-back really good strikes, and maybe if Kerr is shaded over in his normal position and not towards third base, he has a beat on that baseball because it didn't travel all the way past him, but not the right positioning, and a better hit ball from Max Ross results in another RBI double. So that'll bring up Will Burns. That was the catcher interference call back in the second. He squares to bunt. Oh, and he lays down a beauty. Peterson going to struggle to make the play. He's going to put it in his back pocket. Will Burns has himself a bunt single.
And he had to put that in his pocket because there was no way he was getting burned, especially after he slipped fielding that ball, but you knew it right off the bat. That was such a good bunt from Will Burns. Even if Peterson has his footing, he's not getting the speedy shortstop.
So probably a good idea that he put in his back pocket with the slip. That ball could have gone all over the place, and it would have been a trail break on the base pass. So luckily for the Miners, they keep the Bucs at first and third, but Rob Vandegrift up, who hit it well into left field his first at-bat, and looking for a better opportunity off Peterson, and he's got one.
And I know we said it with Briggs at third, but the same thing still applies. Even though you've already scored this inning, you have to treat it as if you didn't. Max Ross at third base has to get in at some point this inning.
Burns at first, Ross at third. Vandergrift squares, and that's a called strike, and the dugout's howling a little bit.
It looked like a strike to me. You know, we say it when we are siding with the Bucks. I got to be as impartial as possible. It looked like a pretty good pitch from Peterson, but a breaking ball. Vandergrift probably didn't think he could bunt it.
Next one, another breaking ball, and that one's going to be off the plate. Wilcox was charging in, which let Max Ross have almost a halfway head start to home. So see if Rob squares again. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pirates going to call time, and
I wouldn't hate seeing Burns run here and keep Rob from having to square. Burns is a speedy guy, and the Miners might be scared to go down to second. Then you'd have second and third with Vandergrift able to swing away.
bunt might also be mixing up Ross over there at third, and Vandergrift lays it down the first base line, but it just goes foul. Boy, that would have been a beauty.
And for me, I feel like that's a communication error, because if Burns is going, Vandergrift should not be bunting unless he thinks he's bunting for a hit, but even still, there's such a high risk of it going foul, and you spoiled Burns' chance of getting second with the stolen base.
Maybe it was all a plan to get Max Ross to come home some way, somehow. Burns goes again, swing and a miss from Vandergrift. Baltz will fake the throw. But Vandergrift does do his job in protecting Burns, at least with his swing, but it will be the first out. And it's as if he did sacrifice bunt in.
Yeah, doesn't bring Ross home, but takes the force away. And with second and third and 1 out, you still like your chances of at least getting one more here in the fourth.
Now 1 down, but runners at second and third for the top of the order. Josh Hankins. A tapper foul. Hankins back-to-back flyouts in his 2 lone at-bats. Will Burns told me before the game he's going to have 7 base hits, and he already has 1, plus the catcher's interference.
We're going to be here for a long time.
He said, nope. He said 7 base hits and 4 at-bats. Talk about an oddball in Will Burns. I was questioning him, and then I was like, you know what, it's really not worth it. I got to go up, and I got to do my thing, and I don't know if I can hear that. 0-2 now for Hankins as he hits that one foul.
If he gets 7 hits and 4 at-bats, those sleeves are staying.
Oh, yeah. Probably staying for now. He's been on base twice. One with the base hit. 0-2, swung on and missed.
Just a nasty breaking ball from Peterson. Can't blame Hankins for swinging. It all looked so good and then just died a few feet in front of home plate. And Hankins had almost no chance of barreling it up.
Almost looked like Peterson slipped on the mound making that delivery, but still able to get the strikeout. And now Cole Carlone will come to bat. Strikeout looking in the first and a ground ball out towards third back in the third inning. Ross at third, Burns at second. 2 runners in scoring position. Pitch from Peterson is hit foul.
And should have a decent hole on the left side to hit it through, with Cochran having to hold off Burns, although Cochran's not holding him too closely, so would love to see Burns take a sizable lead and a pretty good secondary as well.
Pretty big hole up the middle with Patrizzi shifted way over, and that one is hit through the left side. That's going to be a base hit. Ross will score. Burns will hold up at third. It's an RBI single for Cole Carlone. Make that a 3-0 ball game. Good call, Will.
Appreciate it. Yeah, Ryan Cochran was holding off Burns a little bit, enough to keep Burns from coming all the way around on that single, but also enough to make that hole on the left side big enough for Carlone. And not sure why Patrizzi is playing him to pull. If you've seen Cole Carlone this year, you know he's looking to go the other way.
Yeah, I got lucky that Carlone didn't try to hit it in between him and Cochran up the middle. Definitely would have thought he'd made the mistake judging Carlone for being a pull hitter. We know that's not to be the case. So now first and third for Andrew Lamb. Check back to first. Carlone in there safely. Like I said, Peterson's earned runs have been going up a little bit since the month has turned to July. 2 or 3 runs given up here and there. Don't believe he's given up more than 3 runs. Called strike to Andrew Lamb. Lamb with a double in his last at-bat, last inning.
Carlone bluffing on that pitch. 7 hits now for the Bucs, just in the 4th inning.
0-1 is hit foul towards the Bucs bullpen, and someone made a nice grab over there. Looks like
Eli
Lipinski.
Lipinski, yeah. He was proud. He was showing off the ball to everybody.
I'm not surprised. And even if the Bucs don't score in this inning, it is already shaping up to be Peterson's most difficult outing. 0-2, a base hit down the left field line. Burns scores easily. Carlone chugging. He's going to get the green light. Bobbling it is Strohmeyer. Here comes the throw, and they're going to cut it off, and Carlone scores. A 5-0 ball game and a huge mistake in left field, Will.
Huge mistake. Looked like a typical RBI single, and Strohmeyer just struggling with it in left field at his home ballpark. And super heads up from Coach Sanagorski there at third base. He saw it immediately and waved Carlone home.
So with that, I'm assuming it's just going to be one RBI for Andrew Lamb, as that would go down as an E7 scoring Carlone, which also means that would be an unearned run.
Yep. First one's earned, though, that's for sure.
And with that, I believe that Peterson has only given up 3 runs max in his outings. So that 4th run, like I said, this is his most difficult outing, and it's coming against the Bucs. And, well, it's not really a surprise, right?
No, I mean, this Bucs team has been hitting well over the last week or so, was slumping for a little while, but kind of saw them coming out of their shell against the Pilots, and then even against these Miners a couple of days ago, plating 5 runs.
So as of now, that is going to be a double and 2 RBIs for Lamb, but I think that will get changed. And Callahan sends this one deep into left center field. Long run for Kerr. He lays out. He's not going to get there. Lamb's going to score with ease. Ryan Callahan trotting into second base. It looks like we've got another RBI double, and the Bats are more than awake, Will.
Oh, they are wide awake enjoying this late sunlight here in Palmer, Alaska, and the line just keeps on moving. A lot of balls hit on a line into the opposite field gap, which is just a beautiful sight to see.
Well, this is the Bucs team that we're used to seeing, and Peterson has been really good all season long, but it just takes one bad outing versus a really hot Bucs lineup, and that is what's happening so far. The score is 6-0. And this is going to prompt a big mound visit out of the Miners, and their bullpen is already up and stirring. And this is all done, Will, with 2 outs. Let's remind everyone of that fact.
Big 2-out rally.
Yep. And Brody Briggs got it started with a walk. Then Max Ross doubled again and scored Briggs. So that run we thought might have only been the only run, because after that Burns singled. So we had first and third then. But Vandergriff and Hankins both struck out. We were both a little worried we just get the one run this inning. Carlone an RBI single. Andrew Lamb bringing in 2 runs. So with that probably being just 1 run, him and Carlone duking it out for RBIs on this team. And right now, as we stand, Carlone with 14 and Lamb with 16. So it looks like Lamb still got him beat by a little bit.
I don't think those 2 guys will care at all. They just care about this team, and they're showing it with their play. Phenomenal innings from both of them.
Eisenstadt now bats, and that one is low and inside.
What a dream inning for the Bucs. 5 runs.
Never thought we'd see that type of inning from the Bucs against these Miners with how great their pitching has been. 1-0. That's a base hit into right field. Lamb going to get the green light. Big throw coming from McCausland. It's cut off. And scoring is Callahan. Will, I don't know if they should have cut that ball.
And I think Blake Baltz has pretty much a death stare for Christian Perez right now. He is very upset that that ball was cut off, especially given that Eisenstadt wasn't really making that big of a turnaround first.
Batting catcher number 5, Brody Briggs.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't think a lot of folks would understand why that ball might have been cut, and you're exactly right. A lot of times hitters will try to take an advantage and take an extra base, and if that were the case, Perez cuts that ball off and maybe has a play at second to get Eisenstadt. But Eisenstadt being smart, and the Bucs get a gift there. Brody Briggs swinging for the fences on that. And now batting around is this Bucs team. And, Will, I really did not expect to say that this late in the season of a really good Miners pitching staff. And that's no shade to the Bucs bats. It's just they have been so sharp. And even the 5 runs 2 days ago wasn't a big crooked number put up in any inning. It was just piece by piece, inning by inning. The Bucs just a couple runs here, couple runs there, but it wasn't a huge spot like this. 6 runs in the 4th inning, and is now a 7-0 lead.
No more than 3 earned runs or 3 total runs in any start this year from Ryan Peterson coming in.
Eisenstadt goes. This is grounded towards second. Patrizzi fields. His throw to first is in time. The Miners finally get that 3rd out, but that is all after 6 runs come around for the Bucs. It is a 7-0 lead thanks to Max Ross, thanks to Cole Carlone, Andrew Lamb. There's too many to name. 7-0 Bucs lead it when we come back.
Leading off for your Miners,
Welcome back here,
number
and a
9,
huge
Drake
statement made by this Bucs team. 6 runs in the top half of this inning, and Bucs bats just really waking up here.
Yeah, 20-minute top half of the inning, long run for Zan Rose, but when it means your team puts 6 more runs on the board, he is more than willing to take that long risk.
First pitch he throws is outside, and for Zan, I would say he's one of the best pitchers, I would think, to have him sit that long and be able to come out and still pitch the same type of ball. Seems like nothing really messes up his mojo much.
He never looks rattled, ever.
Called strike, and like I said, I loved his ability to, acknowledge that we were walking past each other, but definitely didn't stop and have a full conversation because he knows he's got to lock in and stuff like that. But I definitely got the vibe of, he notices that I'm right there walking beside him, but he's super locked in, and I think that's a great ability to have because as you get older, I mean, you're going to have, starts every 4 or 5 days, but you're also going to have to be a regular human, and you can't just go and sit in the corner, not talk to anyone, and you have that one person that's new on the team, and maybe they come up to you and they don't know that you're starting, and tries to have a conversation with you, and then your whole mojo is messed up, and then your whole start day is ruined. And for a guy like Zan Rose, it just doesn't strike me as a guy to have something that could really mess up his whole entire start day. And I think a lot could go wrong in a day for any given human being, but I think Zan Rose will power through it more than most people would. 2-2, swung on and missed.
Didn't have to power through Drake Kerr. Instead went with the off speed and still got the job done. Fandom.
Now batting right fielder, number 30.
Fandom is right. A really good pitch to get Drake Kerr, a tough batter to strike out.
And how big would a 1-2-3 inning be after scoring those 6 runs? Just silencing the Miners' bats and letting them know, hey, you're not coming back on us.
Well, it's huge, and it also just reaffirms what I've been saying, that nothing really messes up his mojo much. He's just always a guy that's going to be locked in. And like I said, there could be every single thing going wrong for someone in a given day, and he could still go out there and throw really solid baseball.
100%.
Batter now, Kyle McCausland. He takes that ball outside. And for the Bucs, last inning, like I said, just a breath of fresh air, and maybe that's just the inning, the frame that this Bucs team needs going forward, and
especially against this team.
Yeah. 1-1 misses inside, and will, with the successes of the Bucs in doubleheaders, looking at tomorrow, a team like the Chinooks, right up the Bucs' alley, it seems. And getting a huge win today, obviously we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but getting a huge win today sets themselves up perfectly for a doubleheader tomorrow, right?
Yeah, but like you said, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves as you get a little bit ahead. But yeah, I mean, this game is not nearly over, but if it does go how we think it will go tomorrow, could be a really special day to clinch that top seed. But I know that Zan Rose and the rest of these Bucks are going to be locked into today. And in all honesty, we're probably thinking about the seeding more than they are. They're
Yeah.
taking it
Oh,
pitch by
yeah.
pitch, at bat by at bat.
Yeah, well, a little bit of it is because it's our job, but also just you could kind of just tell 2-2 just gets a piece of it. And I think because Zan is on the hill right now, me personally, it's so hard not to think
Yeah,
ahead
no,
because
that's very fair.
he's just a guy that you know is going to go out there and just throw really good baseball. And he's also a guy that just gets stronger and more comfortable as the game continues. And now McCausland sends this up into the air. That's going to drop. A miscommunication in the infield. Not really sure whose ball that was supposed to be. It looked like Vandergrift was the closest one to it. I looked down just for a second, but
I think not even a miscommunication because nobody really stopped in front of it. I think all three guys, Hankins, Burns, and Vandergrift, just got super late breaks on it. You see how high that ball is hit. You think it's a play that needs to be made, and in all honesty, it does. I don't think it was a miscommunication as much as them just all kind of getting a late break, and then you could really tell they were scrambling and they might be in trouble. Unfortunate for Zan Rose, but like we said, not going to phase them.
So that will be the first base hit, and just an unfortunate way to give up your first hit. And unfortunately, there's really nothing that the scorers can do about it because no one touched the ball. It can't really go down as an error.
No, but definitely a play this Bucs defense would have liked to have made. But talking about Rose in a 7-run lead, a guy that doesn't issue a lot of free passes, so valuable because that's the last thing you want to do. Make the Miners earn it.
Swung on and missed by Durand.
See a comment about our score bug. Yes, it looks a little bit different. Home team does the scoring. The Miners dealing with some personnel issues with their broadcast team, doing the best they can for scoring it, and we thank them for that. Just unable to input every single pitch, so we opted for this so you can see the counts.
Yeah, and going back to that, Miners, doing everything they can and just having, I wouldn't say issues, but they're doing their own thing over there, and we talked with them, and more than glad to have this other scoreboard ready to go, and we know that, once again, they are doing the best that they can with the people that they have right now. 1-2, check swing. Surprised they're not appealing down.
Yeah, it didn't look like he went around, but I feel like we see Brody Briggs and most catchers, for that matter, appeal down when there's even a chance.
I don't think Zan Rose cares too much about it. He wants to get a full swing and miss. We'll see if he can do that off Durand, but a ground ball would be even better. Durand, perfect guy for a double play opportunity. Pitch by Zan is fouled back.
Yeah, Durand, a big guy, that is for sure. 6'3", 230, every bit of that from Massachusetts. The rising junior at Bryant. Bryant making the NCAA tournament, losing in the regionals. Durand coming from that right-handed hitter's batting box as well.
2-2 misses outside. A good eye by Durand, making Rose have to work a little extra hard.
And if you're Rose, you got to put this ball over the plate. You have a 7-run lead. Last thing you want to do is issue a free pass. And knowing Zan Rose, I think he'd be thinking the same way.
Not many full count pitches from Zan Rose. We'll see how he attacks Durand. The pitch. Grounded foul. Good fight.
And if roles were... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say last game, the Bucs bullpen, which is crowded right now, eventually moved into the dugout to really help the rally. And it honestly really helped this Bucs team kind of come together because it's an empty dugout right now with all the relievers down there. 3-2. Misses outside. Another free pass issued.
Yeah, not ideal from Zan Rose, but again, not going to get flustered. If anything, a walk, as opposed to if he were to have struck him out with a 3-ball count, I think he would have gotten a lot more geared in, or a lot less geared in to need to throw strikes, but actually issuing that walk going to make him realize that he really needs to throw strikes, and I think that that's what Coach Dunham, who I presume is the acting pitching coach, with Coach Montez acting as the head coach, is probably saying to his pitcher right now, hey, look at the scoreboard, we've got a 7-run lead. just throw strikes. And I think what I was going to say is if roles were reversed and the Bucks had just given up a 7-run inning, we would be talking about so big to get 1 or 2 runs here, just
Right.
to get something on the scoreboard. And so that's the same thing that these Miners are probably thinking right now. So that's why it's so big for Rose to shut them down and put a 4th consecutive 0 on there.
And on the screen,
Now
it looks
batting second
super
baseman, number
ominous
1,
and dark up the
Dom
field. It really
Patrizi.
isn't that bad. And definitely during the break, going to try to brighten it up for you guys a little bit, but don't want to take away from the true feeling of what it's like being here. But
Yeah,
like
I
I
mean,
said, it's
some of
not
those
that dark.
mountains have kind of disappeared in left field. I am a little bit worried.
Batter now, Dom Patrizi, and he takes a ball. And like you said, Dunham doing the mound visits, at least for today. We saw him do it a couple times when Montez is still dealing with injury. Can expect Montez to probably be the guy to take pitchers out still. 1-0. Off the
Hey, folks, like
fingertips
to say,
foul.
grab your 50-50 ticket in the
Coach
gear
Montez
shack.
was
Denise
always
will
the
now be
one
coming
to
around
take
the
out
mattress. She's
pitchers. It's
working
really
the gear
never
shack.
been
Please go
Coach
get your
Springman.
50-50 drawing tickets at the gear shack.
Being that he's the pitching coach, you usually just should do the mound visits. But, of course, being a head coach back at his school and, you know, going through Pepperdine being a pitcher when he was a player still in the 80s, he handles that himself when he's up here. Swing and a miss by Patrizi.
I feel like that was unnecessary of you to say when he was a player. The years.
Yes.
Just messing around, obviously. Monty been around the game a long time.
Yeah. I'm just highlighting how long he's been in the game in a good way. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rose takes a look at second. That's McCausland over there. Now the delivery swung on and missed. A nasty breaking ball from Zan Rose, and Patrizi totally fooled.
Straight filth from Zan Rose. We've told him before, it's just so fun to watch him
Now
pitch.
batting in first
Deals
baseman,
almost
number
every time
29,
out there.
Christian Perez.
Really dealing to Patrizi there. But talking about that ominous left field, checking my phone, it looks like we do have some rain coming here shortly. Shouldn't last for too long, but I think it would be so big for these Bucks to get the 5 innings in.
Exactly right. And now 2 down for Christian Perez. 60 pitches total for Zan Rose. On a pretty good pace. Big swing and a miss from Perez.
And unfortunate for him on that little pop-up on the infield. Should really be facing Perez to start next inning.
Yeah. That was the first hit, as nobody touched it. Should be a combined error, really, on the infield for the lack of communication. I think that they would all agree when I say that, but that's just not how things work.
And they'll probably apologize to Zan Rose, but knowing him, he'd say, don't worry about it, get the next one.
Yeah. He's probably like, oh my gosh, 7 runs, thank you so much. And he knows the Miners pitching staff is really good, and I'm sure he's just glad that he's got the run support. 1-1. In the dirt. Great pick by Brody Briggs.
So clean.
Really trusts his backhand a lot.
It looks like that rain is starting now.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Decently hard, especially on the left side of the field.
I don't know why I was asking you. I could totally see it with my own 2 eyes. 2-1. Hit foul by Perez. And now, but now over 60 pitches here in the 4th inning. But we're late into this season, Will. I don't see any reason why Zan couldn't pitch 80, 90 pitches. But, of course, we're going into the postseason, so want to get him geared up to go. And
curious if the Bucks have already started kind of planning guys out for the playoffs or not.
they probably have. Knowing Coach Montez and Springman, they're all so up to date on everything. Deuces wild. The 2-2 misses way outside. Briggs got it caught in his glove. Wanted to fire back to second.
Don't think Burns was quite close enough over there either. But talking about that in the pitching, yes, you do want to plan ahead, but at the same time, you want to lock up this top seed. So it's definitely a tough balance.
With this rain falling pretty hard, well, we got to get through 5 for it to be a complete game. I'm pretty sure that that's the rule here.
I'd have to assume.
That's the rule almost everywhere. 3-2 pitch. Cold strike 3. Perez throws the bat. Thought it was inside. Zan Rose gets another K and gets himself out of a little bit of a 4th inning jam. The bats back up as we head to the 5th. Still a 7-0 lead for the Bucks.
Now pitching for the
Welcome
Miners.
back. 7-0
Out of
lead
North
still
Richland
for the
Hills,
Bucks,
Texas,
and on the
attending
hill
the
now
Kind Word,
for the
number
Matsu
25,
Miners is
Luke
Luke Smith
Smith.
taking the place of Ryan Peterson. Luke Smith comes into this game for
Batting
the
for the Bucs,
Miners.
center fielder,
This
number
is his
26,
11th
Max
appearance
Ross.
for the rising senior, left-handed pitcher. Like I said, 10 appearances, all out of the bullpen, 14 in the third innings pitched, as this one's fouled away by Max Ross. 14 in the third innings pitched, 18 hits, and 5 earned runs.
And his last time out didn't go very well. It was a while ago on the 19th. Only 1 out recorded, giving up 2 hits before being pulled.
Next one to Ross is a called strike, and for Luke Smith, still sporting a 3.14 ERA, so overall this season he's done pretty well, but just the hiccup in his last outing. Wonder if that's maybe why he hasn't pitched in a little while, and why he's maybe pitching in this situation, Will?
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't pitched a guy in that long with the playoffs looming, you don't want someone to go any longer than the 11 days he's already gone. So it totally makes sense that they'd put him in here.
1-2. And this is rocketed into center field. Drake Kerr on his horse, but this is going to be hit too high into the air. Max Ross a little bit short of his third double of today's ball game. And when I mean a little short, I mean centimeters away. Just got a little under that baseball.
Yeah, Kerr had some problems with it over there. He was
Now
kind
batting
of twisting
shortstop,
around
number
every
9,
sort of way.
Will Burns.
Going back to Luke Smith, though, this is his 3rd time facing the Bucs. Did so super early in the season, and the Bucs 10-9 win here, an inning and 2/3. 3 runs, only 1 of them earned, and then more recently, back on the on the 17th, in one of those 1-0 wins for the Miners, 2 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs.
1-0 called strike on the outside corner, and a pretty big advantage in that he is facing a lineup for the Bucs that has just 3 right-handed hitters. 1-1. A ground ball out to third. Chase Wilcox fields, throws, and gets his man 2 down. And the rain really picking up here. And like I was saying, you have to get through 5, I believe, for it to be a complete game.
Yeah, we were talking before the break. The Bucs are going to
Now
do
batting
everything
second
they
baseman,
can to
number
get on
3,
base and get
Robert
hits, but
Vandengrift.
it might be in their best interest to go down 1-2-3, get back out there on the mound and close up shop maybe.
Yeah, just make sure you at least get through 5. After that, you can do whatever. It's a swing and a miss. But I don't believe, I know I said that.
No,
Well,
they're not trying to,
Oh,
but
yeah.
for the team, what is
Right.
best for them
Right.
might be going down 1-2-3,
Right.
but they're not trying to do that.
0-1 is cracked foul. And yeah, no team ever really tries to do
And I
that.
don't know how you even would.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, I guess, leave the bat on your shoulders, but, I mean, they're not going to do that. You can't purposefully ground out, really. If you can, it's pretty impressive.
0-2 misses outside. Rain really picking up. This is some of the hardest rain we've seen while a game has been played.
And it's interesting. It's a 100% chance, but it's only going to last like an hour.
1-2 swung on and missed. So the Bucs go down 1-2-3 as we head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Zan Rose wants to get this going. He's already out onto the mound. So we'll take a break here. We'll get geared up for this bottom half of the 5th inning. Still a 7-0 lead for the good guys.
Leading up for your Miners, shortstop number 19, Ryan Cochran.
Welcome back here. Bottom half of the 5th inning. Zan Rose still on the hill, and like I mentioned, was quick to get out there. He wants to get this thing 5 full innings just so that he has maybe the chance of getting a win if we have to go into a delay or potentially shutting this game down, as that one shaved a couple chin hairs off of the batter for the Miners. That is Ryan Cochran.
Yeah, that would have delayed things a little bit.
1-0. Called strike on the outside corner. That outside corner has opened up a good bit for this home plate umpire, we'll say.
Trying to get the 5 innings in.
Yeah. I think we all are. 1-1. Called strike again. A delayed call, but it looked like the same pitch.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason for the delay is. And like you said, looked like almost an identical spot.
Looks like it's Jeremiah Arnett warming up in the bullpen, but we've seen him so much as of late for the Bucs, even starting just 3 days ago. 1-2.
Oof. Same spot.
I don't know where that would have been.
Same spot, especially as the last one, because they were both breaking balls. Same spot.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating, and Zan has a great eye of that strike zone. 2-2. Oh my goodness. I don't know where these are missing, and a spot that was open for the first 2 pitches is not open anymore. 3-2. That one's fouled away and really making Zan have to work extra hard.
Yeah, would rather him be out there than a lot of other pitchers in this situation. Heck, even me, if I was good enough, which is obviously nowhere near the case, I'd be struggling mentally out there with some of these calls, but Zan, I know, will just power through.
3-2. Gets a pop-up. It's going to stay on the infield. Vandegrift has this one and wraps it in leather for out number 1.
And I think a lot of times we would see a pitcher kind of look away just knowing the out was going to be made, but after last time, Zan making sure to see the ball touch leather.
I think he had just a
Left
quick
fielder number 31,
conversation with the home plate umpire, maybe just asking where this last one was, but he's so respectful in the way he does it.
Yeah.
You could see that exchange be very cordial, if you will. Batter is Kellen Strohmeyer.
Someone in the comments that I know pretty closely saying it's a great night for baseball right now. Might have to argue otherwise.
Yeah.
It's ugly. Been a great night to be a bat for the Bucs, though, that's for sure.
Sure has, and like I said, this is the hardest rainfall we've seen during a game. So that one's fouled out of play. This is the type of rain we'll see before a game, and then the game will eventually get canceled.
Yeah. A lot of fans have left or gone further away from the bleachers so they could open up their umbrellas without obstructing the view. Nice, respectful move.
This is hitting the air to left center field. Ryan Callahan, and that's off of his glove. Not sure what happened in the outfield, but off of the glove of Ryan Callahan, and ending up at second base is Kellen Strohmeyer.
Yeah, unfortunately for Callahan, I think that's probably going to go down as an error. It looked a little difficult off the bat, but then at the same time looked like Callahan was under it
catcher number 5,
and just unable to squeeze it. Can't imagine that it's super easy with this rain. Additionally, no lights here at Herman Brothers Field, which normally in an Alaskan summer at 7:25 would be no problem, but when it's raining this hard, it does start to become a factor. Not quite as dark as it looks on your stream, but not that far off.
Yeah, my computer was a little bit dark, so I had to get the brightness up a little bit, but it is not that far off from what we're seeing over here. It's definitely a little bit lighter, but...
Rule to double.
Interesting. 1-0 pitch to Blake Baltz, misses. 2 balls, no strikes.
Okay.
Once again, Zan Rose an opportunity to work around the base runner that should not be on the base pass, really. Did a good job last inning. That pop-up in the infield, nobody caught, and that one's fouled away. And surprised to see the bullpen guys sitting out there in the rain, not wanting to join everyone else in the dugout.
They must not have a choice, because if I had a choice, I can tell you where I'd be.
I don't know. I feel like the vibes are just good over there. Maybe they just don't want to leave. I don't know why one of the
Spots
coaches
are hot.
Yes, you're exactly right, Will. 2-1. Totally forgot about that, and that nails Baltz. And he has a little howl at his dugout, telling them get the bats going a little bit. Maybe that'll fire up the Miners.
Hey, if you're Zan Rose, not the worst thing in the world. Doesn't work your pitch count up as much as a walk, and also, and as a walk would, puts that double play back in order.
Wilcox.
Yeah, because that error by Callahan resulted in Strohmeyer getting all the way to second. So that double play opportunity does open up, but you got a guy in Chase Wilcox who does not present as a ground ball candidate, double play candidate. First pitch he sees is downstairs.
It is coming down.
Yeah.
Cats and dogs.
One 0 is hit softly to left field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Callahan is there quickly. So Strohmeyer had to hold up at third base, but bases are loaded and just one down.
Yeah, Callahan did everything he could to get to that, and even though he did enough to make Strohmeyer think that he might.
Now
Still
batting
don't
for your
think
Miners,
Strohmeyer's
center fielder,
getting
number
home if he
9,
doesn't
Drake
pause,
Carter.
but definitely doesn't even have the chance there. But like we said, still a chance for a double play. Now with the runner at third, could be a play at home plate as well. And luckily for Rose, you're working with a huge lead. So even if a run comes home on, say, a sac fly, you definitely trade that run for an out. And if you're the Miners, it's the other way around. You need as many runs as possible without an out.
So that is the second base hit of this inning. Technically, I'd say first real base hit of the inning. With Strohmeyer's probably should have been an error, I would say. And Drake Kerr, a difficult bat to try to get out if you're Zan Rose, but got him to strike out just last inning. 1-0, hammered foul.
Ooh, that was smashed.
And Arnett been warming out there a good bit. Should be ready to come in, and Zan struggles even more. Really, it's not all on him. Of course, that play out in left field of the rain.
I mean, I don't know how he hasn't had more balls slip out of his hand. He's probably putting that leather on it as much as possible to try and protect it from the rain.
1-1 to Kerr, right down Broadway. .86 pitches for Zan Rose, and of course, no earned runs, no runs at all yet, but long at bats.
20 pitches this inning.
1-2, swung on and missed. Into the glove of Brody Briggs. That's strike 3 and a huge K for Zan Rose. Now 2 down for Kyle McCausland.
And great job by Brody Briggs, because that pitch was below the strike zone, and the tip brought it even
Now
further
batting for the
down.
Miners, right
Briggs not
fielder,
only had to
number 30,
worry about catching it, but had to worry
Kyle
about doing so before it hit the
McCausland.
dirt, and just did so by a couple of inches the way I saw it. Great job back there behind the plate, like we've seen from him all season long.
So the batter now, Kyle McCausland, 1 for 2, a base hit last inning. Of course, that was the pop-up in the infield. That was just not challenged at by any of the infielders, really, and it fell in front of Rob Vandegrift. I think miscommunication between him and Will Burns, and maybe even Josh Hankins. Bases loaded. 1-0. Misses again. Nowhere to put McCausland, so anytime to fill up the strike zone, it's right here, right now.
Someone tracking down a ball from the bullpen that got into left field.
2-0 pitch, swung on and missed. McCausland super ahead of that pitch. Looked like he was aiming for the fastball, and Zan Rose pulled the string on him.
Absolutely. He was so far out in front.
So if he goes back to that breaking ball, or maybe tries to speed the bat back up and gets a tapper, going to be a really tough play. Hankins, bare hands, throws, and it gets away from Eisenstadt. 1 run scores. Here comes Bolts. He's going to score. They're waiting around Wilcox. Eisenstadt's not going to throw it. And 3 runs come around to score for the Miners. It's a jailbreak on the base pass with 2 down.
Yeah, it was going to be such a tough play straight off the bat. And for Hankins, incredible that he even got that ball in his bare hand. But given the rain and everything, was going to be super difficult to make an accurate throw. I think that McCausland might have beat it out anyways, but Eisenstadt, no chance on that throw to secure it. Tripped unintentionally. McCausland, hope they're both okay, but super unfortunate, and it looks like that's going to be it for Zan Rose.
Just unfortunate. Zan trying to fan off Coach Dunham, not in a bad way at all, but just saying, hey, I got this, I could do this. But unfortunately, he's going to be taken out of this ball game, and the Miners score 3 runs, bring the deficit down to just 4. Looks like it's going to be Jeremiah Arnett on the hill. It's 2 outs and 1 runner aboard when we come back. Welcome back. Like I mentioned, Jeremiah Arnett is on the hill for the Bucs, who just gave up 3 runs on that misplay at third by Hankins. Threw it away from Tommy Eisenstadt for Arnett. We've seen him so much. This is his 17th appearance.
Now
In his
batting your
16th
designated
prior,
hitter,
he
number
started just
35,
one game. That was a doubleheader. Or no,
Durand.
yeah, it was the doubleheader for Arnett. But that was just the one start. Everything else out of the bullpen. 5-0 with 1 save, 27 and 2/3 innings pitched, 29 hits, but just the 9 earned runs. Good for a sub-3 ERA. And now he's got to face Brandon Durand, who takes a called strike.
And for Arnett, saw him just a couple of days ago against these Miners. Earned a run and a hit in just 2/3 of an inning. Not his best outing.
Next one to Durand, misses upstairs. Fortunately for Zan Rose, just not getting a lot of help out from this solid defense from the Bucs all year, but some misplays. Out and left by Callahan, dropping the balls. Really got this inning going. Josh Hankins not choosing to keep in his back pocket, throws it away from Tommy Eisenstadt, and that cleared the bases. That was a huge decision by Hankins. We know he's a sure-handed glove over there, but I don't think he's getting out either way. But we're past that, and that's going to be a balk on Jeremiah Arnett. Looks like he got stuck on the mound.
Understandable in these elements.
I think that also could be reason for the umpires, if it starts raining again, to maybe pull the plug on this game, but
And
the rain has died down.
Yeah, and we were talking, there's such a better chance of the Miners kind of being okay with them just ending it as opposed to a delay if they were down 7-0. 7-3, that might change their stance, and we might be here for a while. Like I said, though, supposed to stop pretty shortly, which is hard to imagine given how hard it's raining, but it's already slowed down a little bit.
2-1 is fouled away, and now that 4th run is 90 feet away, and that would just mean it's a 3-run ball game.
Yeah, crazy how quickly things can change. And for the Bucs defensively, some plays you definitely like to have back, but in fairness, the Miners could say the same.
Deuce's wild pitch is too far outside. Count runs full.
Not a bad pitch from Arnett. Could have definitely seen Durand offering at it.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Arnett trying to get Durand. He does! Called strike 3 on the outer half, and that puts this bottom half of the 5th inning to an end. The Miners get 3 runs, though, and they bring the deficit down to just 4 as we head to the 6th inning. Now a 7-3 lead for the Bucs. Just wanted to welcome everyone back real quick. Just a little
Everybody
on-field
now.
delay for a little bit. Shouldn't be too long, just fixing up the field a tad bit. We'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back to Bucs Baseball. A little bit of a delay, apologize for that, but the Miners players doing a great job at cleaning up the field and getting it ready to go.
Hey, let's hear it for
Saw a
him,
lot
folks.
of
Now
pitchers
pitching for
out
your
there,
Matsu
laying down
Miners.
some new dirt,
Hailing
taking
from
old dirt
Wasilla,
away. On the
Alaska,
hill now
Lieutenant
for
Central
the
Washington.
Miners is going to be
Number
Nolan
7,
Murphy.
Nolan Murphy.
The PA guy just let you know Nolan Murphy comes into this game making his 8th appearance beforehand in his 7.
Leading off the
14
the
innings
box,
pitched,
third baseman
7
number 6,
hits, and
Josh
4
Eaton.
earned runs. Good for a sub-3 ERA. All of these pitchers for the Miners, or most of them, under 3 in the ERA department.
This is his first time facing the Bucs. Our first look at him as he fires outside a fan favorite from Wasilla, Alaska. Went to high school at Matsu Career in Technical High School.
Oh, wow.
State champion in 2019 and the state batting title in 2020.
He can also hit a little bit. So 1-0 is a called strike.
Goes
Hometown kid.
Yep, goes to Central Washington. Not a lot of playing time, only 2/3 of an inning this year.
1-1. Breaking ball fouled away.
You know, Josh Hankins is looking to have an impact here. Had that play at third, trying to make the barehanded play, and that error bringing in a couple of extra runs.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitch to Hankins, misses outside.
In between these offenses picking things up and the rain picking up, game has really slowed down.
Sure has. Struggling to get through these middle three, it seems. 2-2, hit to right field, laying out for it, and not making the grab is Kyle McCausland. It looked like that was in his glove, and the impact of it hitting the ground made it pop out.
Exactly the way I saw it. At first, I thought it was definitely getting down. Made a great late break at it, did everything he could. Just popped out of his mitt, not far enough for Hankins to advance another base, but leadoff man's aboard for the Bucs would love a big response after those 3 from the Miners.
Cole Carlone.
So that'll bring up Colt Carlone. And that lead, of course, going from 7 to just 4. Bucs would love to add on a little bit, especially now that the rain has subsided and we might get a full 9 innings in, Will.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, rain wasn't going to last too long. It's really slowed up a lot.
First pitch to Carlone. Nice breaking ball, falls into the zone.
Huge hook.
Saw Hankins offer at one of those breaking balls and just fouled it away. It's like a slurve, horizontal and some vertical movement. Swings at that one, and Hankins trying to take second base, and he's going to be thrown out.
Yeah, not sure if that was a hit and run. I think it might have been with Carlone's swing at the pitch that was upstairs, as well as Hankins taking off pretty late. Didn't get a great jump, but like I said, might have been because it was a hit and run, and unfortunately just didn't work out.
So the leadoff base hit is eliminated on the base pass. 1 down for Carlone. Down in the count. Pitch from Murphy. Misses. And it was Blake Baltz and Brandon Duran, both catchers for the Miners, doing a really good job at getting the home plate and their surrounding of home plate all good with the dirt and everything. They did really most of the work. Some of the coaches helped out a little bit, but Baltz fixing it himself. I mean, that's where he's spending all 9 innings, is in that circle, so he knows it best. But hats off to the Miners, doing quick work. 1-0 is hit out of play, foul. Look out, bullpen.
Yeah, obviously at Mulcahy Stadium, not something the Bucs really have to worry about. Sometimes issues with the turf mound, but obviously the area around home plate turf, every once in a while got to add some more of those black pellets, but no ground maintenance like we see here.
2 balls, 2 strikes for Murphy. The righty comes set and delivers to the lefty Carlone, who hits this deep into the left center field gap. That's going to get down. Strohmeyer cuts it off. He's firing it into second base. The ball's cut off, and that means Carlone's going to be in there with the double.
How about that? Cole Carlone taking the extra 90 feet, was not satisfied with just a single there. That ball hung up in the air for a good while, and then the Miners just not doing the best job of getting it back in quickly.
Just
Yeah,
shocked
number
that that
8,
was not an
Andrew
easy
Lamb.
double. Off the bat, it looked like it was going to the wall, and with how shallow Strohmeyer is, I'm really shocked that he was the one to cut it off. Really doesn't make much sense with how shallow he's playing, so good job by Strohmeyer, but I don't know if that ball should have been cut. Maybe if it's not cut, it still doesn't have enough juice to get to second base, but a good job by Carlone. Just unfortunate, that probably would have scored Hankins, or at least got him to third base, as that one's fouled by Andrew Lamb.
Andrew Lamb, definitely not a guy that these Miners are excited to see at the plate.
Not at all.
3 for 3 with a double. He has 2 RBIs from that double, also scored in that big 4th inning.
Technically has 2 doubles, right? Or is that still listed? Is that still listed as a double back in the 4th, where the 2 runs came around?
Oh, I'm not sure on that, actually.
Yeah.
The 4th is a double.
The 3rd, he had a double as well.
So yeah, I guess technically to some scoring issues
Yeah.
that we may ask about later.
But some weird plays, so definitely not on the scores. It's just been a little wacky, some of these base hits for the Bucs and for the Miners. Lamb in a hole. Murphy taking his time on the hill, and late time called, and I think that's by Baltz.
Yep.
Baltz calling time
That's
at the
who the
last
home
second.
plate umpire's pointing at. And I think probably to make it so that Murphy's not too upset with the home plate umpire, would probably feel a little bit differently about the time called if it was Lamb. And definitely wouldn't put it past Andrew Lamb. Definitely likes to mess with the timing, chatting with the home plate. What do you think he's asking about?
Absolutely no idea, but he knows that Murphy has been waiting to make that pitch, so going to make him wait just a little bit longer. And down 0-2, going to use any advantage he can. Pitch from Murphy is popped straight up into the air. It's going to be shallow center field. Cochran out there, but calling him off is Drake Kerr. The center fielder makes the grab. Now 2 down.
Yeah, unfortunately, the shenanigans from Lamb did not pay off. Unable to get Carlone over
Left
or
fielder,
in.
number
And
17, Ryan
for
Callahan.
Lamb, first disappointing trip to the plate today.
He avoids the strikeout, and just 10 strikeouts for Lamb with 90 or 89 at bats coming into this game. It's just remarkable, his ability to put it into play day in and day out. Rain has come back and is falling pretty hard. Batter now, Ryan Callahan takes a called strike. Callahan so far 1 for 3, a double back in the 4th inning.
Callahan, another low strikeout guy. 10 on the year and 85 ABs coming in. Picked up 1 today and 3 ABs, but I'll take it with the double. Extra base hits, a ton of them lately from Callahan.
Next pitch misses outside.
He has an RBI and a run score, but he had no extra base hits as of, 5 days ago at this point? Triple, then 2 games later, a homer, and now 2 games after that, a double. But he was tired of all those singles.
Maybe looking for another single right here to bring in Carlone, and he does it. Hits it into left field. Sanagorski going to send Carlone. Strohmeyer with a big throw from left field. That one's cut off, and Carlone makes it an 8-3 ball game.
Good call by you. How about that? A single to bring in Carlone. That's exactly what happened. And at first, I wasn't so sure about the send, but something we got to keep in mind, that ball is rolling off of wet grass. The chances of Strohmeyer getting a perfect throw with the wet baseball, unlikely, and especially if it's cut off and there needs to be a relay, almost no chance of 2 perfect throws in these elements.
And another ball cut by this Miners infield, and that one,
it looked like it was going to be up the first base line if it wasn't.
I was just about to say, that one didn't look like it was going to be as close, but just interested in why they're cutting every single ball coming to home. And you could make the argument that Callahan snags an extra bag if that happens, but also at the same time, you might have a chance, one of the 3 plays that's gone home. So the batter now, Eisenstadt, with Callahan at first. Another 2-out rally, and it continues. A base hit into left for Tommy Eisenstadt. Now first and second with 2 down.
Something about these 2-out Bucs here today. You saw 5 of the 6 runs, I believe, in the 4th inning with 2 outs. 1 here in the 6th so far, but Eisenstadt, Callahan, and company trying to increase that. Brody Briggs, the man who came to the plate twice in that big 4th inning.
Yep, Briggs led it off, a walk, and he came around to score, and then a ground ball out to end the inning. So he was the first and last batter that the Miners faced in that daunting 4th inning. Hopefully won't be the last batter they face here in the 6th. First pitch, nice hook, but just a bit inside, I assume.
Trying to think through some of our games. Is that 6-run inning the most runs in an inning?
We've put up a 6 spot a couple of times. 100% sure of that.
There hasn't been an 8 or a 9. The question is 7.
I don't think that there's been a 7. We put up a 6 spot at least 2 times, I do believe so, before this.
Didn't we have a 6 spot against the Pilots just a couple of days ago?
Right, and out in the Peninsula, 6 spot, because they came all the way back from that.
Yeah.
The Oilers did.
So I think it ties it, but I don't think there's been a 7.
Well, there's always a chance for more runs in the inning.
You're greedy. You are greedy.
2 balls, no strikes. See if Brody Briggs gets a little greedy here. That catches a corner, and Briggs dips his head back a little bit, probably asking for that same call in the first 5 frames. All the bullpens up on their feet during that little delay where they were fixing up the mound and home plate. playing a little game of hacky sack, so maybe their seats are a little bit wet now. 2-1. Another called strike.
Maybe just staying in their same positions to finish that game up after this half inning, but hopefully Brody Briggs can make them wait a little bit longer.
Deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs on a rainy evening here in Matsu. Murphy takes a look at second. Now the delivery is way too far outside. A full count pitch to come. Runners will get a head start.
And if you lose Brody Briggs via walk, Max Ross is on deck, and he's been hammering the baseball.
2 doubles and a big pop out to center field. Could have been his third. 3-2 pitch. That's outside, ball 4, and Max Ross will have an opportunity. And get this, he's got the bases loaded.
Yeah, a double here would more than likely plate 3 with Briggs' speed over there at first, and 2 outs, everybody going on contact. But
Center fielder,
Max
number
Ross has
26,
just had
Max
a fantastic
Ross.
game. Hasn't really had to do much defensively. I don't know if he's made a single play out there, in all honesty.
No, has not. What I have.
And I don't even know that he's really even fielded many ground balls, if any, but offensively he's done some work.
Definitely making up for it. That's a called strike on him. Callahan at third, Eisenstadt at second, Brody Briggs at first. Next one misses. Ross also has a really good eye, and we haven't seen command struggles from Murphy besides that last walk to Briggs, where he struggled just a bit. But if he struggles again, Ross will definitely exploit that. 1-1 line, foul, look out over there. Whew. Into the stands, Max Ross goes. One patron over there sitting like a statue after that one. Barely missed him. Looks like he's been to his fair share of ball games. Ross down on the count, 1-2. The pitch, too far outside, and a good take from Ross.
Yep, good take indeed. These green and yellow colors of the minors got you saying patron like it's the Masters.
Deuces wild again, this time to Max Ross. The 2-2 pitch, this is outside again, another full count. Murphy showing that he has a little bit of command issues to the Bucs.
Nowhere to put Max.
Like I said, Ross, a very disciplined eye. Will be more than happy to take a walk. You know he has something else in store. 3-2, misses outside. Murphy is super confused, and that looked like a really good pitch, but how about Max Ross for that take? So coming around to score is Ryan Callahan. It is now a 9-3 ball game for the Bucs as they lead it here by 6 runs once again.
And how about 2 walks from Nolan Murphy, who coming into play had 4 walks all season in 14 innings.
Yeah, we've seen the Bucs do that to pitchers who are really disciplined, as Will Burns takes a cold strike. But like I said, this Bucs team can exploit good pitchers, and they've done that here to Nolan Murphy. Seen them do it to minors in the past, too. 0-1 to Burns, waves and misses at that.
Crowd's getting rowdy here. They're trying to get their bats back to the plate.
0-2, way too far outside. Great stop by Bolt, saving another run.
A good number of acrobatic stops he's had in that right or left-handed hitter's batter's box.
Talk about fundamentals, too. Blocking that up straight up. Could have tried to get fancy and go with the backhand, but stays disciplined. 1-2, same spot, and another good stop by Bolts.
Flexibility, reaction time, all on point.
A lot of room down that left field line for Will Burns. If he can hook something, it is going to be a jailbreak on the base pass. Deuces wild again. The 2-2 pitch. Grounded foul. Was thinking about it.
Yeah, he was. Those Bucs waiting to resume their game of hacky sack by the bullpen would need to scamper out of the way.
Burns still looking for 7 hits tonight, so he's really got to get on his high horse. Just the one so far. We'll see another 2-2 pitch, and he swings and misses at that. The Bucs leave them loaded, but they do get 2 more runs and extend the lead to 9-3 as we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning.
50-50 raffle.
Bottom half of the 6th inning, still Jeremiah
Leading
Arnett
off
out
for
there
your
for the
Miners, second
Bucs.
baseman number 1, Dom Patrizi.
Zan Rose gets through almost 5 full innings, but Arnett finishing it off for him. Pitch count was getting up there. Some misplays in the infield and outfield did him wrong a little bit, and unfortunately had to come out of this game a little earlier than what we were thinking.
Yep. His line, as of now, reads as 3 earned runs, 4 hits, and 4 2/3.
1-0's grounded to short. Will Burns got to go quick, but he gets the fast-running Dom Patrizi for out number 1.
Yep, good play by Burns. And like I was saying, that's what it reads as for now. Might have a word with the Miners scoring this one. Like we
Batting
said,
first
a little
baseman,
bit
number
undermanned
29,
with their
Christian
broadcast today. So
Perez.
understandable, just trying to input things as quickly
Yes.
as possible to get those base runners right and the runs right. But a couple of those runs to Zan's name definitely should not have been earned.
Christian Perez bats and takes the ball upstairs. And we know that firsthand. We're just trying to get something down quick just to show that the score is what it is, but we'll later go back and change it. That one's outside. And of course, get those updated as quick as possible. We want these Bucs to have the truest and correct form of their stats as they possibly can have. Next one misses again. Struggling to find the strike zone is Arnett.
Can't imagine it being very easy in these conditions.
Not at all. And warming up the bullpen, it looks like it's a lefty. It looks like Garvey Rummery, but I don't know if that's his number.
Not sure who that is.
3-0 coming, and it's a strike to Perez. Hitters count for the first baseman. Arnett wheels around a 3-1, and it's low and away for ball 4. 5-pitch walk to Christian Perez. Brings up Ryan Cochran.
Yep, not ideal with this lead to be walking, guys. 1 won't kill you, but definitely don't want any more.
Now batting number 19, your shortstop, Ryan Cochran.
I think it is Garvey Rummery out there. I think he just has a different jersey on. Looks like 16.
I saw 16 also.
But I got a pretty good eye at what all these guys look like when warming up. Arnett is super easy to tell. Same with Rudd with their stature, of course. Eddie Torres, Rylan Hyder, both side armors. It's easy to tell. Called strike to Ryan Cochran.
I'm just a little confused why he'd be warming up.
Yeah. Rummery known for being a starter, one of the best pitchers for the Bucs. Him and Zan Rose going back to back.
Maybe trying to line him up for a specific playoff game?
0-1 misses just a bit inside. Could be right. And later in the season. Game rained out yesterday.
He was supposed to start yesterday.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. He was on the docket to go, and I don't think they wanted to mess with Zan in his mental game, knowing he had to throw. This is softly lined to second. Vandegrift has that. No play at first, though, to get Perez.
Thought about it. Perez, 1 or 2 more steps, and I think they would have had him.
That line out brings up Kellen Strohmeyer. So far today, he's reached
Now
base
batting your
twice
left
in
fielder,
his
number
2 lone
31.
appearances.
Kellen
A
Strohmeyer.
walk and a single.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the play in left field with Ryan Callahan. Was ruled a single. One that Callahan would have liked.
That's foul tipped by Kellen Strohmeyer. And a lot of room in foul ground. I'm sure the bullpen guys love that because they've got tons of real estate to play hacky sack or hot potato, any type of game they want out there. They're all standing up, but I don't know if they're allowed to do it during the inning.
I'd have to imagine not.
0-1. Called strike from Arnett. Arnett in his 16th appearance. We have seen him so much. Excuse me, his 17th appearance. This one's fouled back, and he's just a guy with a rubber band as an arm. I mean, he really can come out and give you exactly what you need, whether it's just getting that one out to send you to the next inning or giving you 2 or 3 innings.
I mean, this is game number 36, so just under half of the games.
0-2. Foul tipped again. I guess you could someone could argue a lot of rainouts, but those have been piling up at the end of the season. We're still seeing him pitch, 2 games in 3 days, 2 or 3 games in 4 or 5 games. I mean, it's an absurd number of innings that he's pitched so far. 0-2, swung on and missed. Speeds up Strohmeyer with the fastball upstairs, and the left fielder could not handle it as we head to the 7th inning. Score still 9-3. The Bucs lead it